Welcome to Candid Talks About Sex for Saints, where we get candid about love, sex, wellness, and relationships. Just so you know, I am Tammy, a wife, a mother, best-selling author, your favorite intimacy and relationship coach, the host of this fantabulous podcast where we talk about sex but still keep it God. I got a question for you. Have you ever wished that someone had taught you more about sex from a faith-filled perspective? Or have you ever had questions that no one could answer? Or felt like if you knew then what you know now, you might have made decisions a little different? Well, let me tell you, you are not alone. This podcast is dedicated to just that. We're going to break some silence. We're going to fill in the gaps and help you to grow in godly intimacy without shame. And so for today's podcast, it's our anniversary. Yay! It's our anniversary. Yeah. Y'all, I'm so cheesy. I know I am. I know I am. But today, y'all, it is me and my husband's anniversary. And I am so excited. So I wanted to just come on here and just share. Because it's our anniversary, I just wanted to share a little bit about, what I've learned from, you know, being able to be loved well, right? I wanted to talk about how to love well or how to be loved well, right? Because let me just backtrack a little bit. When I met my spouse, we met on a dating app. I know we met on a dating app, and it wasn't an app when I joined the app. It wasn't because of me wanting to date. It was really because I had moved to a new area and I wanted to meet some people. Like my friends always get on me because I literally had a list of restaurants that I wanted to go to. And I said to myself, I was like, I'm gonna go and if I'm vibing with this person, then we're gonna go to this place. I really wanted to try these various places on this restaurant that I had. And so, when I was dating my husband, like the competition was deep. Okay. I was dating multiple people. Like I wouldn't say dating. I was, going out and socializing. I'm gonna say socializing with multiple people. And so when my husband came, he came with a different vibe. He came with a different vibe. It was a different element. There was something different about him that made me kind of it made me kind of zone in on who he was as a person, because I really enjoyed being around him. I enjoyed our conversations. There was something very authentic. And so even though I didn't go with the intention of, when I went on these apps, I didn't join with the intention of, I'm getting married, because that's not exactly what I wanted to do. Like I wasn't in a headspace of let me get married. I really was just enjoying my life. Like I feel like I was in a season where I was living my best life. Okay. I was, working out and losing weight, and I was elevating in my career at that time. Like I was doing the thing and I was absolutely enjoying it. And so he just happened to come at a really good time. And so, when we got together, like everything just happened very, very quickly. It was 2 months in and we were engaged. And then 6 months we got married. And let me tell you, um, even though we moved very quickly, when I say that, it has been nothing but joy. Of course, we've had some moments, we've had some trials, but one thing I can say is that he has mastered learning how to love me well. Now we're still working on some things and whatnot, because there are things that I need to do on my end, things he needs to do on his end. But when it comes to learning how to love each other, vibing with each other, we are still, I think we're like 8 years in, and we are still in a space where we still love to be around each other all the time. Right? Like we are, wherever he goes, I go. When we are together, like we like to be in each other's space. Like we're not tired of each other. Like he's really my friend and I'm really his friend. Like we really vibe, and I love that about us. I love that about us. And so when it comes to learning how to love each other well, I just want to talk about five things on how I've learned about loving well. So this is just going to be a reflection. And so the first lesson that I loved is like love is a decision. It's not a feeling. I know that there are times when, you can get caught up in, the feelings of being in love, the feelings of this and the feelings of that. But those feelings fade out. They fade out. Feelings will fade um, faster than a heartbeat. Okay. And so when the feelings are gone, what else do you have left? What else is left? There's nothing left outside of the feelings. And so you have to make a decision that you are going to truly love somebody, because when it comes to like the dopamines and the things, all the things, there's a honeymoon phase of every relationship, and that honeymoon phase only it lasts for about up to about maybe 18 months or so, right? And then after those dopamines start wearing off and that honeymoon phase starts fading, then you start noticing all the things that you don't like about that person. You start noticing all the things that irritate you, and then you start seeing them for what you didn't see before, like things that wouldn't, like things that annoy you now didn't annoy you then, right? And so you start shifting your mindset. And so you have to make a decision that I'm going to love this person through all of their flaws, through all of their things, through all of the things that I don't like, right? It's a decision that you make, because there are going to be times when you fall in and out of love, right? And in those moments is when you have to make a decision to say that regardless of what we have going on, regardless of the season of our life, we're going to have to stick through it. We're going to have to live through it. We're going to continue to go on this path and recognize that this is just a season. This is a season of roughness. This is a season of patch, right? Because those butterflies, they wear off, but true love is deciding and making a decision to love the person when you're tired, when you're frustrated, and even when you're misunderstood. And so every day I wake up and I say, God, help me to choose him well today, and help me to love him well today, right? Because I want to make sure that I am loving him well. The next lesson that I learned is that your spouse is not your enemy. Man, from being a single mother for the first 14 years of my daughter's life, there's a lot of mindset shifts that I had to do. I had to do so many different mindset shifts because it was difficult for me. I was so independent. I was so used to doing everything on my own. I was so used to people not being able to take care of me. I was having to take care of myself and feeling like I was in it all by myself, right? And so here it is, you have somebody who comes in and they say that I am going to assist you with this, I'm going to assist you with that, I'm going to help you with this. And when you're at this headspace, women have this capacity to, I want to say this very lightly, they will self sabotage a situation, right? They will self sabotage because in their mind it can't be this good, it can't be this easy, it can't be this freeing. I remember one time, I got stuck in a situation where I was unable to, I needed some plane tickets to be able to travel because I got stuck. And I think this might have even been during COVID time. And I'm so used to paying for everything on my own. I'm so used to, covering myself. I didn't even consider my husband's finances in terms of, I wanted to get up out of where I was and get to my husband quickly, and me and my kids, because I have three children. I have a 20-year-old, a 5, and a 6-year-old. And I wanted us to be able to get to where we needed to be quickly because we didn't understand where the state of, the world was going to go at that particular time. And I remember, I'm getting my check and it was not enough. It was not enough. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get to him? How am I going to leave this place, And I didn't even consider his funds. I didn't even consider his finances because I was so groomed at that particular point in my life to say, I got it. I don't need it. I got it. I don't need it. That it was very difficult for me to be able to recognize that he didn't have any bad intentions. Like his goal was to make sure that myself and his family was taken care of. Like he was not my enemy, even though I was treating him like that. I was trying to self sabotage. And so he sent the money immediately for us to be able to, get the tickets. And when I tell you that did something to me, because I think that was the very first time, even though at that point we had been married for years and he was doing what he was supposed to do, don't get me wrong, but it had gotten to a point where I had the realization that I'm not in this alone, right? For somebody who had been doing it for so long, for 14 years of my daughter's life, I was single. and going back and forth with child, like it was just too much. And so I had made a decision that I was going to take care of me and her no matter what. And so it was very, I don't even know how to say it. It was very humbling to know that, you know, he got me. He got me. And I think that's the first time where I was like, man, like I have somebody in my corner, and realizing that, this person, like, stop trying to self sabotage, because this person is really there to support you and guide you and take care of his family. And let me tell you, the devil is strategic. He will use things. He will try to make you seem as if your spouse is the problem, but he was showing me at that moment that we're in a partnership together. Marriage is not about keeping score, it's about keeping the covenant. And so I had to stop fighting him in that way and recognize, like, hey, allow him to, do his thing, because this is where they are able to elevate. When you have a spouse who is, working towards taking care of their family, let me tell you, that does something to their grind. They continue to push, because in their mind, they're like, I got to take care of my family. I got to work. I got to do this so that I can take care of the family. Right. And I never want to be in a position where I'm taking that away. Um, the next thing that I learned, and learning how to love him well, and him loving me well, is that communication is spiritual discipline, y'all. Communication is spiritual discipline. This is something that, we are growing to work towards today, right? Learning how to communicate with each other. And so, listen, learning how to talk, not just talk, but be able to speak to them in a language that they can understand, has been very helpful. Recognizing that there are some things that I just can't say, right? Because when you're married, you just can't say everything. You just can't be toxic on purpose. You really have to be intentional about some of the things that you say, because you want to make sure that they are not reacting to something that you're saying, and that you're not guarded in something that you're saying, right? The walls need to be able to come down. And so when you learn how to talk and listen, be an active listener, and not just react. That's one of the hardest things to do, but it's also what's very necessary in order to be able to love somebody well. Because listen, when it comes to intimacy, one of the things that's very important is having that desire to be seen, to be heard, right? To be heard, so that you can, do the action, or they can do the action to show you that they heard you, right? Because that's where that security is built. When you communicate something to your spouse and they respond to it in a way that is assisting you, that's letting you know that they hear you, they got you. That's where security comes from. That's where security is built. And so I absolutely love that, right? I love that. Communication is spiritual discipline. You have to discipline yourself to not just say the things that you think you need to say, but understand that you need to speak to your spouse in the language that they would be able to comprehend, and do it in love, right? Be gentle, be kind, be patient, and give a lot of grace in that process, right? Because that is where intimacy is birthed. And if you want your spouse to be able to, create that space where they are open, right? Able to, give you what you want, and you can get what you need, and vice versa, then it allows your relationship to just elevate, right? So working on that communication, shutting your mouth, right? I just want to say it real quick, just shutting your mouth and knowing when and when not to say something. Another lesson that I learned is that sex is sacred, and it requires intentionality. Y'all, let me tell you. Let me say it in the back out loud for the saints, okay? Um, Sex is not just physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, and it's even prophetic. But it doesn't happen by accident. Life gets busy, kids get loud, work becomes demanding, and you have to fight for fun. You have to make space for pleasure, and you have to protect that connection, right? You have to be intentional about date nights. You have to be intentional about flirting and using oils and toys and laughter, and making sure that you are consistently present, because your marriage is going to go through various things, right? And you want to make sure that you are keeping that intimate space alive, because listen, that is the only space that you have in your relationship that no one else can come in. You can do a lot with other people. You can have intimate conversations with best friends, right? You can go to church and get that spiritual fulfillment that you need with God. You can have financial conversations about how you're elevating in your businesses, your finances, your career, all these various things. But when it comes to the bedroom, that is something that is only between you and your spouse. And so you want to make sure that you keep that space sacred, you keep that space guarded, and you make sure that you are coming together and connecting in that way, because that's where that intimacy is built, right? That's where you can grow. This is where you're learning so much more about each other. This is where you're being vulnerable with each other. This is where you are connecting with each other. So you want to make sure that you're doing all the things. And then last thing that I want to talk about is that you can have it all with God at the center, right? When you learn that you can, as long as God is at the center of your marriage, you can have it all. I speak to people all the time where they're in situations where they're not loving each other well because of the state of their own minds, of what they have going on. But all they really truly need is God, right? I don't want the world to lie to you and tell you that you have to settle for survival mode in your marriage. Like, you can have passion and peace, you can have romance and respect, you can have fire and friendship, right? Our marriage is not perfect, but it's blessed because we've learned that God is not our backup, He's our foundation. And so when you keep God first, everything else finds the rhythm in that space. So thank you again. This is just a very short, conversation that I wanted to have today so that I can post. But I do just want to let you know that, it took some time for my spouse and I to get to learn how to love each other well, and that's something that's an ongoing continuous process. But when we have a marriage God's way, there is absolutely nothing that He cannot do. To my husband, I want to thank you for being my safe space, my teammate, and you have been my forever. I love you so much. I love you deeper today than ever before, and you are God's gift truly to me. I don't know if you'll ever really understand that concept, but I just want to make sure that I say it, right? I want to make sure that I say it. I want to say it out loud. And to every listener, if this episode has encouraged you, just share it with someone, right? Subscribe, leave a review, and just always check in. I do have resources on my page for those who want to connect deeper with their spouses. You can go to my website, yourmarriagelab.com, and I have tools on there that you and your spouse can use, because I understand that not everybody is in this space where they understand how to adapt to their concepts. There are people who want to connect deeper, they just don't know how, they don't know where to start. So you can head to my website, yourmarriagelab.com, try any one of the tools that I have on there. I have connection kits, I have I have an ebook that teaches you how to get deeper with your spouse, 30 days to a deeper intimacy. I have ebooks that helps you how to connect with your spouse. I have so many different resources there, so definitely want you to check it out. But if you have enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. All right, so thank you all for joining me on my little anniversary special, where I gave you some little tidbits. But thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.